So, I guess like one of the key aspects of Stoicism that I personally like is that concept of like preparing for the worst,
Hmm.
right? Because they always talk about. I think one of the things that the Stoics were like kind of against, which I find interesting, is hope,
Hmm.
right? And they would more so like prepare themselves for the worst. Like, yeah, I might get humiliated. Yeah, people might make fun of me. Yeah, I might get hurt or whatever. But by preparing for that, it's like obviously you're more prepared when if it does actually happen, right? But you also prepare for the best in life.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because I think tragedy has a way of coming for all of us. And I think we all know
Yeah,
this. This is so fascinating about human beings because we're conscious, we're aware of our own vulnerability and our own uh, mortality. We're very aware of that, and so I think that's always kind of in the back of our heads that that we are vulnerable and mortal, and that's coming someday. Yeah. So
sure.
yeah, sorry, but yeah, to get to your point, this sort of visualization of the bad things that are happening, I think that's where that stems from in a sense because doomsday is coming. It's always coming. But if you think and you visualize on the bad things that could happen, what you can do is you can come up with a mental plan for how to deal with that. And then when it actually happens, you still might be bothered by it, but at least you'll have some kind of idea for how to deal with that. And companies do this today, by the way, they call it a risk register, which is basically when you start a project, what you do is you list out all the things that could potentially go wrong. And then you list out next to it what you're going to do if that happens. And it's like this is a practice that's done in the professional work environment today. And you can also do it individually. You can think, well, what's going to happen? How am I going to deal with if I lose my job, if my girlfriend breaks up with me, if my mother dies, if this and that? And then it still might be painful. That's not to say that when it happens that you're going to be smiling and happy about it. But what it's going to do is it's going to give you a backup plan. So, well, if I lose my job, I have this job that I could maybe apply for, and I think I could get at least to get me through till I get another job, or if my mother dies, I'm going to make sure I journal about that and get therapy about it and talk with my friends and whatever it is, you have a plan in place. So it's very beneficial, but sometimes sometimes painful to do, let's say.
Yeah. One of the things, at least one thing I realized about Stoicism is that when times are good, it seems very easy to apply. But when times are bad, it's so much harder. And it's like that's when it actually matters though. When times are bad, that's when, to actually follow through with.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's yeah, and I think there's a Stoic quote. It sounds like a Seneca quote, but it's like you can tell how good a person is by how he deals with bad times, not by how he deals with good times. Because it's easy to be good when things are going well,
Yeah.
but when you get caught in the rain or when your house burns down or when God forbid someone in your family dies or when you lose your job, it's like how are you going to deal with that? That's what makes you a good person is dealing with those rough times because this is something that's really encouraging for people. If you can be that person that's strong that can deal with tragedy, man, you're going to be so valuable as a person. That's not to say that you don't take time for yourself to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and recover properly, but if you can be the person that when shit hits the fan at work or something, you can pick up the responsibility and carry it. Man, you're going to be so valuable as a human being, and you're also going to have a lot of meaning in your life because there's nothing more meaningful than carrying a load, especially if it's in a tragic situation and not everyone has the strength to deal with such things. And if you can be that person, God, man, that's something to aim for.
Yeah, that's for sure. One of the things it's like, um, a lot of the times I've gotten this question about like, you know, I guess passion, right? Like things that like it could be like, I guess like career, right? And I would say to them is that you will never know if you like it on your good days because, it's easy to do it on your good days, right? But you will find out on your bad days that if you still want to keep doing this and keep pursuing it, it's on those days that you will have a deeper sense of love for it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love that because I often think about that in terms of Yeah, exactly that. If someone's having a bad day or if they're fighting in their relationship and you take them out of that situation and you ask them if they're happy. Not if they're happy right now, not if they're feeling joy
Yeah.
right now, but are you happy with this relationship? Are you happy with their job? And they actually are happy with it. They'll say, "Yeah, I'm just frustrated right now, but yes, I still love the job." Versus someone that is in, say, a relationship or a job that's going really well and they're just looking for things to complain about.
Oh yeah.
They're just bitter all the time. And that sometimes that's a matter of perspective. Sometimes we get bogged down in negative thought patterns. And so it's good to, I guess, cleanse that in some way and change those thoughts. But but yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I think that's the way it should be in general, for sure.